Well, I've officially become a deer tracker. I'm now tracking deer. I tell you what, I just came out to the lake because it was so beautiful this evening. Let me show you. The lake is just like glass out there this evening. There's no wind. There's nothing. And I just said, let me walk down there and just take 5 minutes to enjoy the beauty of the lake. It is rarely here lately this quiet. It's rarely this quiet. It's always been windy here lately. But when I got down here, look at what I find. I was kind of bragging that the deer seem to only be messing with Richard's garden across the beach. But it looks like they're coming to my garden too. Up that hill over there is Richard's garden. I don't know if you can see it, but there's my corn. Then you come this way past my house, and just behind that grassy area over there is my lower garden. Up the hill towards that shed is my upper garden. And you don't have to be a genius to figure out which way these tracks are pointing. And they're everywhere. And they're fresh. I think that's pretty fresh. I'm no expert, but I think that's pretty fresh. Looked like he slipped a little bit there. I tracked them all the way to the water over here. Here's the big part of the lake there, but there's a little inlet there. So basically what I'm saying is those deer would have to go up the hill and go right past my house. Just walk right by while I'm sleeping and go munch on my gardens if that's what they're intending to do. If they're just coming down here to drink, I understand. It's a water source and it's hot. But if they're using it as a way to traverse to get to my gardens, man, I was hoping they wouldn't even figure that out. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna have a bandana around my head for too long and be like Rambo. I'm gonna be out here at night stalking, keeping these things out of my garden. I wanna get those black diamond watermelons to full maturity. A couple of them are already looking kind of bad. They're kind of looking misshapen, even worse today than before. And I watered them a lot the other day, but it's just so daggum hot. My husband and I got in the car earlier to go somewhere, and it was, once we got going and all, my car dashboard said it was 102 outside. I believe it. It has been very hot. I believe it. But I hope they're just coming to drink. I hope they leave my melons alone in this garden. And we'll just have to see. It's just gardening, and it's just part of it. It's kind of late in the game to put up fencing. It's late in the game to do a lot of things, ordering bone sauce and things like that. I think all that would help. I really, really do. But it's kind of late in the game. Tomorrow is June 20th, and I really feel like most of these melons will be ready by July 4th, and I just need to kind of get over that hump. My cowpeas are about done. They can come munch on those if they want to. My cucumbers and things over here still have a shot. They've bounced back since I've been trying to get water on them in this heat. But, if they do end up eating the cucumber vines, oh well. I really just want to get those melons to full throttle. And I have the Dr. Weish's tomatoes over here. And in my upper garden, I'm really trying to fight to keep several things up there. So I hope they stay out of there. But we shall see. That's just gardening. Good morning. This is Sunday morning, Father's Day, June 19th. I thought I would just kind of document all week long my progress on this upper garden. Now, I'm at the worst angle possible. This looks like a bunch of grass, and it is. But this was my corn, my John Hawk corn. Yesterday, that was one of the things I got accomplished, was I took some pruning shears and I came in here and I cut it all off at the base. And I've got it stacked up over here in a stack. I'm gonna come in here this afternoon because the heat shouldn't bother me to jump on the tractor and do something. So I'm going to come in here this afternoon, and I'm actually just going to run the disc lightly over this a couple of times. It's not going to probably get to the roots of all this grass, but it'll help a little bit. And then I think I'm going to tarp this for right now. I'm just going to tarp it and give me some time to think before it all grows back. The second thing I got done today, on Sunday, June 19th, was I started weeding this row. I'm filming this at 8 o'clock in the morning. I was out here about 6:45 to 7, and I started weeding these speckled purple hull peas. I haven't finished right there, about that last 10, 12 feet, and I haven't finished all of one side, but I got a lot done. You can see the dirt there. I got a lot done. You can see my actual plants. Hallelujah. I got a lot done there. Some of those grass things were so wide and big that when you pulled them out, it opened up about 2 foot of ground. I mean, I should have done that a long time ago. I had some rabbits eat a lot of my plants on this end, so they kind of stopped there. And then I got all the way back to where my peppers start. Looks a lot better if I show it from that angle. But it's a start. This part of the garden hasn't changed much since yesterday, but I did run a sprinkler down the whole back row. I have cucumbers back there. I have Mexico midget tomatoes. I just ran a sprinkler, and whatever decides it wants to start looking good again is staying. Whatever looks dead is gonna get cut out. But that's my goal. That's what I'm working on. I just hope and pray that maybe we can just rally each other. This heat will get you. This heat will just take you down. And maybe we can all just help each other. This homesteading community, I don't consider myself a homesteader per se, more a gardener, but it's still the same community. We all watch each other's videos. We all support each other if we can, by our words, by our comments, by our likes, by our shares. And that's what we need. We need to just hang in there together, support each other, and be there for each other. So I'm gonna film this week a little each day. Hopefully it'll motivate me to keep going. Hopefully it'll help me beat back this heat. And we're gonna get her back in shape. We're just gonna do it. There is no option to be defeated. We're just gonna do it. So garden girl up, garden boy up, wherever you're at out there, let's get her done. Good morning, it's Monday, June 20th. I did not get my tractor out yesterday to till up my corn so that I could tarp it. I completely forgot I have a U-Haul parked in front of my shed. I can't get my tractor out. So my kids, my daughter and them, are actually moving back from Texas. I don't know if I mentioned that before, but they're actually moving back. They got over there, they only stayed a few months, and my son-in-law's father started having some really, really major medical issues, and they're not sure if those issues can be resolved. And so his prognosis is just sketchy right now. So they talked to their employers. My daughter was working remotely with her old employer back here, so she's going back full-time with them here. And my son-in-law's business was able to transfer him from the Houston area to here. And they got a great price on their house, even though they had just bought it. The market had went up over there. So they sold their house in a day with a cash offer, and they're back. So they're getting back set up here, and their U-Haul is in front of my shed. So I can't get to my tractor right now, but I'll do that in a few days. But I did last night come over here and finish weeding the speckled purple hull peas. I finished doing that. It feels so good. I didn't do the end of that row. I'm taking things by the littles. My goal was to do this area where the speckled purple hull peas were, and that's what I got done. I pulled and pulled and pulled. I've got debris I still need to pick up. I had run my water hose, so a lot of stuff was wet, and I just didn't want to pick it up and move it last night. It had some mud on the roots, but I got it done. It just feels so good to set a little goal and get it done. I'm having to work early morning, and I'm having to come back out here late in the evening because of this heat, but it's happening. This is okra that I had planted down at this end. I've got 3 okra plants coming up, so hopefully they'll do something. But this part right here, for now, is done. And as soon as I can, I'm gonna see about just running a push more down these aisles, just so that I'll feel better about walking around here. Stuff's not scratching on my legs. And I'm just gonna keep on rolling. I'm gonna skip around a little bit. Today's goal, I think I'm going to this back row over here because some of my tomato plants may be salvageable and I just don't want them sitting there growing in weeds. So I think I'm gonna work on that row today, on that back row where the T-posts are. Not all the row, just part of it. But that's my goal for today, Monday the 20th. And we'll just see what I can get done. Well, a girl can change her mind. And so I'm gonna give a little update. Instead of working on this 5th row this morning, this is technically actually the 5th row here, which, you know, it needs help. But I was gonna work on the cucumbers at the other end and the clawed brown yellow giant tomatoes at the other end. But I made an executive decision and I decided to just hang with the row I was on because I have these Cherokee purple tomatoes still here. The weeds had really not gotten too bad up on the tomatoes here, but it was starting to encroach. Well, it was probably coming about to where that little pipe is. And so I spent the morning really getting after this bed. It's 20 feet here. I've got just a tad I want to thin out there. I didn't get it far enough back to really make myself happy, so I'm going to thin that out. But I did on this side as well. And then I know it's kind of like a little puzzle. I'm hodgepodging things, but I'm kind of prioritizing. I skipped this 10-foot section. This is my blue shakamax and beans, which have actually started coming back to life. They're putting beans back on here now after kind of stopping there for a while. So I'm just gonna let those keep going, and I'm gonna harvest them dried as before, but that's not the big priority right now. And I decided to go ahead and just do this 10-foot section that has cucumbers and Armenian cucumbers and Ashley cucumbers right here. So now I have done all the way from that T-post, that's my Italian heirloom tomatoes. I've done all the way through the Armenian and the Ashley cucumbers, and then this 20-foot or so section where my peppers are. Still got to kind of just tidy up this part. You're seeing the backside, which, yeah, it is weedy. But the bed itself isn't too bad. Then I jumped down here and did this big 20-foot section. So I feel like I accomplished a lot. I'm going to finish up a little weeding this evening. This is Monday, June 20th. And I'm going to jump over there, I believe, next. I've got my scissors out here. Got my little scissors on the ground right there. And I believe I'm going to jump over here to these squash. The weeds to the outside are bad, but not to the inside. But I'm going to prune off some of these dead leaves. It may be just way too hot for me to get a whole lot of squash out of all this, but you never know. And I think if I take off some of this dead foliage, give it a little more ventilation, and bring a little bit more water over here tomorrow, and I might could get some more life out of these squash. There are some little baby squash on there, and I don't want to lose them. So I'm going to pay them a little attention this evening, and then that'll be that. We'll roll into Tuesday and see what can happen. Good morning. Please excuse how I look today. I've been out in this garden from 7 to 9, and then it's about 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm back out here, and I'm just going to work at least an hour or so to see what I can get done. I just can't even, the heat's not even bothering me today because I've got to get some things done. But I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to get out here and get too hot. But let me show you what I'm doing today. It's Tuesday morning, June 21st. All right, where I left you at yesterday on Monday was that I was going to weed and trim out this whole squash bed. Well, I did the part where from here to there where I did my first sowing. The part in the back that's a little bit more taller, I haven't done yet. It's actually not as bad as this front part was. This front part actually took me most of my evening session last night to trim down the dying leaves off of the squash, and to do the weeding. And then I was back out here for the first session this morning from 7 to 9, doing nothing but sitting on that bucket right there and working this row. But I got it done. I got it done. And that little section back there, I'm going to try to do at least by the evening today. But in the meantime, I had a little bit more energy after I cooked breakfast. I had a couple of people come by the house. My brother-in-law brought the mower, and I'm going to get out here in a little while, and these aisles, I'm just going to mow them down. So I've got the mower, just got to get it done in a little bit. It needs some gas. I've got to check my gas cans. If I don't have gas, I'm going to have to run to the station and get some. So anyway, that'll be this evening. But what I'm doing, I detoured a second because I turned around last night and I realized I had totally forgotten I had planted okra on the same row as my speckled purple hull peas. No, I'm sorry, these aren't the speckled ones. These are the regular Mississippi purple hull peas. I had planted okra every few feet, and I knew the plants were here. I just didn't think they had gotten big enough yet to put on pods. And then last night I turned around and I had big, huge, 8-9 inch pods that were completely wooden and unedible. And I realized, this okra is ready. It's starting and it needs to thrive. So, and I just realized that I've got a pod right there. Now that one's probably not too far gone, so I think I'm gonna grab that in a minute and take it in the house. But what I'm doing is I detoured a little bit and I'm taking my pruners and I'm cutting off all of these purple hull pea plants at the base, leaving the okra plants. I'm gonna let the okra have the sun and have this row, and I'm gonna just take these out. That'll clear this out. These peas, I've gotten a lot off of them, but I've explained my challenges this year with this heat, just completely drying up pods, just drying them up quicker than I can get out here and even harvest. And I've also had wasp. And yes, I call them wasp. They're not wasp. I think they're some type of a bug that mimic a wasp, and maybe they come from some type of larva or whatever. But in 100-degree heat, just go with me. They're wasp. They just get all over everything, and they're aggravating, and they're just stinging up my beans. And so I've done a lot. I've got a lot of my kids. Aha, here's some. Let me show you. Well, they fly away the minute you get by them. But there they are. There they are. I've got several just attacking them right now. But that's what I'm talking about. My kids even sat at the table a couple days ago and helped me do peas, and they're like, "Oh, Mom, you do this every day." And I said, "Yeah, and I've been doing a lot of peas, zipper creams, black-eyed and purple hulls to get it done." And they're about done though, and that's okay. They're like bush beans. They only do a little bit and then they're done. So I'm going to give the space to this okra. I'm going to do some weeding, of course, but right now I'm just taking out these plants, opening it up, giving them the ventilation they need to grow, and hopefully I'm having me a good little crop of okra here shortly. Don't laugh at that little puddle. It's been a couple of minutes. Didn't even really wet my sidewalk too bad. You can see a little rain there, so we got a little bit. It's just the concrete's so hot it dried so quick. My little garden by my house, you might not be able to tell on camera, but I can tell the dirt's wet. So let me go look at the upper garden at least and see if I got anything. So funny because my dirt still looks little wet spots, but not much. I guess this is one of those kind, I guess as soon as it started, it stopped. The naked eye, I can see that my soil got a little sprinkle rain, got a little wet. But, and anything helps. But definitely didn't leave any big impact. So I really could use some more. This is Tuesday evening, June 21st. It's about 4 o'clock. Ordinarily I wouldn't be out here right now, but we do have some cloud cover because of the showers that are coming through here, there, and yonder. I can actually see things in the distance at some points, and I know it's raining nearby, but just not here. But I'll go ahead and show you. I did finish cutting down all purple hull peas. And I have a good bit of okra. Just didn't really realize how many plants were all up in there. I have a good bit of okra coming along, so, and it's so forth and so on. It goes down that aisle. So that'll be good. I guess I'll come on out here while it's under cloud cover, and I'll set myself another project. I think I may just get the rake and just come rake all this debris and clean it out really good. And we'll just see what I can get done. Well, I'm sitting on the end of my trailer right now, taking a break. I have been mowing this garden, and it is just making all the difference. It's not overcast anymore, though. It was only overcast for a few minutes. Any chance of rain I had at my house is gone. So it's about, I think it's about 6:30 right now, and I'm just plugging along, though. Just because it possibly was going to rain in this area, it cooled it down. I am sweating. I'm a mess. I've already had a bath last night and a bath today, and I need another bath, and it's just, I'm continually, every time I get out here, I'm dripping. My whole shirt, I keep wiping my face with it. My whole shirt is a mess. But that's what it takes. That's what it takes. I'm trying to take advantage of this one evening that we've had with some clouds in the sky and cooled it off. It may still be like 92 or something like that, but after being 102, it feels cooler to me. So I'm gonna get this mowed. I'm gonna finish it before dark, and I'm gonna show it to you if I can. And that will cap off Tuesday, June 21st, and I'm gonna call that a success. I'm gonna call that a win, and I needed one. Before I lose this beautiful sun, let me show you this garden. I just feel so much better, and it looks so much better, and I feel like I can come out here tomorrow on Wednesday and just start fresh. Amen. I'm just taking a minute. It's Wednesday morning, June 22nd, and I'm sitting in the shade of my pole beans that aren't doing great anymore. But I'm sitting by these beautiful flowers, and I'm looking at this whole row of squash that I did get done. I got it finished this morning, weeded, trimmed, and I don't know if you can tell, but I've just got so many blooms everywhere. They may have been here before, but it was so overgrown I couldn't tell. And this morning, it's just like, ta-da, got a little squash growing there. This is the time of year in Louisiana that most squash are done. It's just too hot. It's just too hot, and they just stop. But I'm gonna try. Another big, beautiful bloom. Another little squash there coming along. I'm gonna try to just see what we can do. Oh, got 3 bees in that bloom right there. Y'all go, guys. Another little squash, and on and on and on. Cool. Next thing to get this garden back in shape, and it shouldn't be too hard, is I'm coming along this row of okra, and I'm gonna weed it today. That's my job for after breakfast. I'm gonna try to get that done, then take a break in this heat, and then come back later this evening, and I'll update then. I'm losing light out here. It's darker than it looks on my camera, So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I got done today, this Wednesday, June 22nd. I did finish weeding from that post to that post. I think this is about 11 or 12 feet. And it has one of my tomato plants on it. That's the VB Russian paste tomato. Got a couple little tomatoes right there. I need to really grab those and take them in with me tonight. But this plant was looking rough. It's given me some beautiful tomatoes, but it was looking rough. I just gave it a little haircut. I pinned it to the string so it stands up loud and proud now instead of just mumped over. And we're hoping it's going to come back. These are all my Ashley cucumbers that have just taken such a hit with the heat, but had some water on them. They still don't look great. But I actually did pick about a 9-inch cucumber off there a while ago that looked all right. These are my clawed brown yellow giant tomatoes, my heirloom tomatoes that I got from Sustainable Mountain Company. And they were just all just about on the ground. They had just taken a beating. So I've got them all staked back up now. They're off the ground. I gave them a little haircut and I'm hoping they'll be okay. Now down there is where I just was showing you that section. Moving on down the row here, I'm just getting started here, but I took down the netting that had those Diane Blue Lake pole beans on them. I started just now sitting on my bucket and weeding that. I'm just going down the row, pulling out all the bean plants, and I stacked all that Hortonova netting right over there. I pulled it off of this section, which is 20 feet, I believe, and skipping down here, I pulled it off of this section. This section was my ideal market green beans, which I sold out of them. I mean, I got a lot of things off of these plants. I would have loved it if they'd have went till fall, but these were also the beans that got blown over in that straight line windstorm, and I had to pin them back up, and they just never really did the same after that. So they're gone. I'm gonna pull them up out of the ground, and I'm just starting something else here. I'm not gonna put up Hortonova netting. I'm probably just gonna put some type of cowpea or okra or something like that here that will grow in Louisiana heat in the summer. All my little flowers are just showing up so much better now that I'm taking all this stuff out. But I had to go inside this afternoon. I lost some precious time. I had to go inside for about 30-45 minutes because it lightning and thundered. But of course, no rain. Beautiful skies out here tonight, just absolutely beautiful. So we're gonna wrap it up and call it a day. I will see y'all tomorrow, Thursday morning. Bye-bye. Good morning. Look at these pretty flowers. It's Thursday morning, June 23rd, and I'm back out here. I got out here at 6:30. It's 7:50 right now. This is the section that I pulled the Blue Lake pole beans out, that Hortonova netting and everything. And I finally got that finished this morning. So that bed is done for right now. And then I came along and I just went on to the next section instead of going down here to the ideal market beans. And I'm getting to them. I'm working my way down. But instead of skipping a section and reprioritizing, I decided to change my schedule. I'm doing this little 15-foot section right now with my Marglobe tomatoes on it. Now these bushes have a bunch of little red tomatoes on them, but these bushes were set upon by those leaf-footed bugs, wasps, whatever you call them. They were just set upon by those, and I just ended up not even harvesting the last of the tomatoes. But what I'm going to do today, because I'm not going to give up on anything that's still showing life, I'm going to take all these tomatoes off. If there's any good ones, of course I'll keep them, but the bad ones I think I'm just going to pile up. My sister and them have chickens. I'm just going to I try to give them as much as I can out of my garden that'll help, and let them have them. And then I'm going to prune them back a little bit, stand them up straight, and anchor them to the fence and just let them grow. I would flip the camera around in the mornings and talk to you, but I literally get out of bed and come out here just as I am, because there's no point in getting dressed and getting all looking good to come out here and sweat and have it dripping off your nose. But I do want to just say something, because this has just impacted me this morning. I sit out here and I'm weeding and I'm just looking at everything and seeing the bees and all that stuff. And I'm thinking about what I still need to do, like in this area over here. And I listen to videos. I catch up on my videos on YouTube channels that I like. And this morning I'm listening to one where Rory Feeks is interviewing Joel Salatin. And the video is about a year old. But of course, it's a great interview. They're both just great people. But what has impacted me is something that Rory just said to Joel Salatin, because Joel Salatin was laughing at Rory Feeks and said, my long answers that I end up giving is your fault because you lead me down the rabbit hole with your good questions. And they were laughing and joking. And Rory Feeks said, I've come to realize with you, Joel, that you don't just give an answer to a question without giving that question context. So he told Joel Salatin that, that you don't answer a question without giving that question context. And I realized that he just put into words the issue that I have had probably my entire life. And it has caused me so much anxiety, because I have that issue as well. I feel like before I answer something sometimes, or before I tell a story, that I need to kind of explain the situation that was going on around the event. And it makes the story interesting. It makes the story, it puts it in a setting in my mind, and it also embeds it in my mind. If something has a story and is embedded in a story of an event in my life or something I've observed, then it stays there and I don't forget it. It's more than just a passing moment if you put it into context and you make a story out of it. So I try to, like, if I'm telling somebody something, make it into a story, and even make it funny, make it poignant, whatever it calls for, but put it into some type of context. These are beautiful. But the problem in my life is getting people to have the patience to listen for just a moment, to hear what you have to say. Good people, lovely people, friends, family. But a lot of people don't have the capacity to let you finish, or to emotionally let go for a minute to get involved in what you're trying to say. And they'll cut you off. Or, anyway, so what you're trying to say is so-and-so. And they finish the sentence for you. They let you know they really don't have the time to listen to you. They're not intentionally letting you know that. Cucumber. But they're telling you that by they're rushing you to finish, by they'll all of a sudden summarize the story for you so that it can be over, so that your telling of it can be over. And I shut down at that point. I just shut down. If someone looks like they just can't even bear to listen to what I'm saying, I shut down. I don't know if anybody else has this issue. I don't know if everybody else just is succinct and can just spit it on out and get on with their life. But it's an issue I've always had. And it has caused years and years of trouble in my marriage because my husband's brain was not wired that way. His brain was, hear the issue, think of a solution, solve the problem, move on to the next solution, which is how he functioned at work, and which is what helped us make a good living and get by. And that's great. It does not necessarily make a good marriage when you have no patience to kind of stop and listen to the long story your wife's saying. So it has caused a lot of trouble. Now, we never divorced or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you, there was many, many years I just felt unappreciated and not listened to. And it's funny now because even though this year and a half we've had since his stroke has been something, it's been a lot of work, a lot of exhaustion for me, a lot of stress for him, frustration. It's also slowed us down. It's just slowed us down. And it's caused us to have a lot of time together that gives me time to finish what I'm saying, and it gives him time to just appreciate it and listen because he doesn't have anything else to do. And we've both noticed it. We enjoy spending time together now. We enjoy talking. It's not perfect. Just yesterday, I asked him to just let me finish saying something. So it's not perfect. And I'm sure I interrupt him too because I'm not perfect. But just by hearing Rory Feeks say that today, it's at least given a context to the context of my need to give context to something when I'm saying it. And it's kind of explained. I've always kind of been hard on myself and said, maybe you just talk too much. Maybe you just yap too much. And people, you go on and on. You go on and on. And that's why people aren't wanting to listen. But that's really not it. I think that's seriously what I was doing, was just giving context to what I was trying to say to set the stage for the ending. And that's just how my brain works. That is just how it works. So I'm just going to appreciate the people that will listen, people that will just stop and listen. Like I'm looking at this little dragonfly right now. I've just stopped and listened and observed the people in my life that will hear me out, the people in my life that will sit there till the end and just laugh and remember our conversation later. Those are the good ones. Those are the good people. Those are the ones that appreciate you for who you are and that enjoy you and enjoy spending time with you. And I hope that I do that for others. I hope that I listen to them and hear what they have to say before I jump in with my stories or my opinions. And if I haven't done that in the past, I just hope I can work on that. We all talk about what's going on in the world now, and we all talk about how stressful it can be. Well, what better medicine than to just listen to each other? What better medicine than to just let each other finish their sentences? To not tell each other how silly we are, or how, the stock market's going to be fine. To not blow off what they're saying. To actually just hear them. And to let them have those feelings and those thoughts. And to take as long as it takes to tell us about it. How wonderful. We wouldn't need medicines. We wouldn't need psychiatrists. We wouldn't need counselors. As long as we had the ability to just speak and be heard and be appreciated for what we have to say, I think that would heal the world. So thank you, Rory Feeks, and thank you, Joel Salatin, for waking me up this morning to the fact that I'm okay. That I'm not that much different from someone like Joel Salatin in how I tell a story. God bless him, though. He's so smart. He is just amazing. And God bless him. But God bless me too, because he made me this way. That's my thoughts. It's Thursday morning, June 23rd. I'll update you later on how I'm coming along with this garden. Bye-bye. I decided to come over here to my dirt pile and get some of this black organic soil to put on the 2 spots where I took out those pole beans. I want to plant something there, and I just feel like I need to add some soil to it and mix it in before I do, kind of build up those beds a little bit. So I'm just taking a few minutes to do that this afternoon. You can see behind me that the sun is going down. I'm fixing to lose light to film. I'm still going to stay out here though and work until the bugs run me off or it gets too dark. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to this evening. The trash came. We had to go out to the highway a few minutes ago because we forgot that our trash cans were out there. So I had to go in the side-by-side and do that. I put the sprinkler on, didn't realize I was wetting my bucket. And so I had to go in the house and get a towel for that. My husband wanted to ride the side-by-side a little before that, and I have to help him get on it, so I have to stop and go do that. So it just seems like I keep stopping and stopping. And I got a lot of weeding done, but you just never know when you're weeding whether it's going to be easy weeding or hard weeding. And this time it was a little bit just frustrating weeding. So I didn't get as many feet done as I wanted to, but I got something done, as long as I get something done. Tomorrow's Friday, and that's it. I'm going to do a morning session out here, and I'm going to come out here in the evening or as soon as I can work in this heat and finish up. And wherever I'm at tomorrow evening, I'm just going to show you. No matter how it lands, I can tell you what, it's been a transformation. But I may not have every little part of it weeded and done. But I have thoroughly enjoyed this week, actually. It's helped me a whole bunch. So let me show you what I got done this evening, and we'll wrap this up. I showed you a while ago with my tractor. I went and got some black soil to add to that bed down there. And I brought some to add to this little 20-foot section where the Blue Lake pole beans were. I just felt like they needed to be built up a little bit more. I'm fixing to, I'm going to kind of widen it a little bit. That's one of those things that may or may not get exactly done right by tomorrow, but I know I'll get it done. And I think I'm going to put 2 rows of cowpeas here and 2 rows of cowpeas up there. The cowpeas should come out in plenty of time to maybe transfer over to collard greens. I think I'm going to plant a lot of collards and mustard greens this winter in this garden. What I did, I worked this morning, I think I showed you on this section, the Claude Brown Yellow Giant tomatoes and the Ashley cucumbers. And I continued on right along this 10-foot row here where the dragon's egg cucumbers were. They're looking pretty rough too. They're probably fixing to come out, but I just weeded around them tonight. And I weeded this 15-foot section, just this side. I have to go weed on the back side. You can see there's still weeds there. But I got this 15-foot section done. These are early girl tomatoes, and they actually still have a good many little tomatoes that keep popping up on there. So I may not eliminate them yet. They're a hybrid. I don't even really know if they're going to continue on to the fall, but they still have some greenery on them. And I don't really have a plan for anything to put here, so I'm probably just going to try to prune them up, fertilize them a little bit, and, just give them a little time and see what happens. But I got that weeded, so I've got 10-foot dragon's egg. I got the 15-foot here, that's 25 feet. And then I just weeded in front of these Mexico midget cherry tomatoes, which is another 10-foot. So I got 35 feet weeded this afternoon, which is more than I thought. I do have to do the backside. I keep forgetting that. I do have to do the backside, but that's more than I thought. So I'm just going to call that a good evening, considering. I wish I would have got the backside done and I could just put a lid on it. But you know, this is me just filming. I'm still going to keep working. I'm going to keep working until I just have to go in. Talk to y'all in the morning. Bye-bye. All right, good morning. It's Friday morning, June 24th. This is the last day I'm going to film for this video. I'll do this morning session, then I'll show you whatever I get done before dark today, and that'll be that. I'll keep on working on this garden, of course, but I just wanted to show you the progress that could be made in just like 6 working days, and really a few hours in the morning, a few hours in the evening. I have not been able to work in this heat in midday, but I'm going to just show you what at least can be accomplished with a few hours. Okay, I showed you yesterday how I weeded along the front of all of these rows here. A lot of square footage that I got this side weeded on. This morning I came out here and I started by focusing on this 10-foot section of Mexico midget cherry tomatoes. I decided to leave them. That bush there has just got so much beautiful greenery on it. And these bushes, that one in the middle, I'm not sure is going to make it. Those at the other end had a lot of greenery. I cut a lot of it out. I trimmed them up. And I know with cherry tomato bushes, they're determinate. A lot of people don't like to trim them at all. A lot of people that probably know exactly what they're talking about tell you don't trim them at all. But I did. And I did it in the early spring to all my other cherry tomatoes, and I just saw no effect. They did wonderful. I took out anything on these branches that had turned brown, that had the yellow leaf blight, or that just looked bad. And the reason being is I had that straight line windstorm a month and a half or so ago. I showed the damage on it on a video, and a lot of these branches on these particular cherry tomatoes were broken because a bucket flew across my yard and just slammed into them. So I left it alone there for a while, hoping it would heal, and because they were covered with cherry tomatoes, and I just wanted to see if they would go ahead and get done. And they did, but as time went by, those branches just looked dead. So I cut all those dead branches out. I even pulled up the plant that was there. It was done. That plant is gone. This one, I'm gonna see. It doesn't look great, but I'm gonna see. Those two on the end are still green. Their trunks are still green. I just think they're viable. They're putting off a lot of new growth in tomatoes right now. One of my Mexico midget bushes was kind of like a mutant, and it put off the little cherry tomatoes plus some bigger ones like those saladette size I just showed you. And that's what's coming back right now is the saladette size. But I'm just going to see if they'll go ahead and put off a lot of new growth of the regular cherry tomatoes, which this bush is doing. And if I can still have some cherry tomatoes all through the fall, we have a long growing season here, I figure why not try? There's nothing to put there that's so important that I need to pull these bushes up. So I'm gonna leave them. I did the same thing down here to my early girl tomatoes. I gave them a good haircut. I trimmed off any kind of bad branches that I could see. I left all the new growth, the new tomatoes they're putting off that are green, and I took off all of those that had turned red and had just been set upon by the leaf-footed bugs, the wasp, and I'll revisit these later and just see how they do. I wasn't really expecting anything but a big spring push from these, early summer push, but these plants look pretty good. Look at all the green leaves on them. None of my tomato plants get extremely tall, but they have done good this year. They have done good. So I can sit here now and say that these rows are finished. I'm finished with them right now, except for maybe just coming back and fertilizing. Those are little things I'm just going to be doing as I can in the end. I've got a little more weeding I've got to come do. That grass there is easy to get out. It actually comes out in big sections. So I just got to come down here and do behind these Ashley cucumbers and behind my clawed brown yellow giant tomatoes. And this will be finished. So about about 15 feet and 10 feet, so about 25 more feet of just weeding stuff that is fairly easy. It's not really a lot. And I'm going to call that my morning session after I get through doing that. And the afternoon session, I've still got 3 more areas that I need to weed. So let me see what I can get done this evening. Thank you. Well, y'all, I finished. The sun is gone. I better run through this really quick with you. Row 1, done. This section, done. Did the whole row get done? No, but that's okay. That first 20-foot section got done. The second 10-foot section still needs to be weeded some more. It's the Blue Shakamaxon section. I will come back to it later, but I had just laid it aside for now and never got back to it. This third section, done. Third section, done. This fourth section, done. Armenian and Ashley cucumbers, got it done. This fifth section, Italian heirloom tomatoes, done. Got it weeded, got the tomatoes pruned, got them staked up again, looking nice, done. Row 2, my okra, this whole row, done. This is the speckled purple hull peas, got it all done. A lot of weeding went on down this row. Ooh, goodness, but it's done. It ends about right here and it starts with all the peppers. And I go down here to my eggplant. I pulled out some cucumbers that were there. They were just crunchy and toast. They weren't coming back. Down here is my Satsuma long eggplants. They're still doing good. I pruned them up. Got them all pruned up and they're still bearing lots of eggplants. So they're doing really good. So row 2, completely done. Row 1, I lacked one little section. Row 2, completely done. Row 3, almost done. I got the purple hull peas that were here pulled out. I'm letting my okra just have this row all by themselves, but this end looks really good. Later on, as you get down here, look at all that okra that you couldn't even see because of those purple hull peas. When you get down here, starting about right here, you see the weeds. Weeds, weeds, weeds down here. Won't take but about an hour, but I needed to get it done. My corn was here. Did I get it tarped? No. Did I get it disked? No. But I will do that. This section here is row 4. I haven't even touched on that with y'all. From this post here all the way to the end post down there, I was going to plant some King of the Garden lima beans, but I decided not to. I'm going to plant some Texas Longhorn field peas, and they're on my buffet in my foyer. I will get them, and I'm probably going to try to do them at least by the first of next week. So this row did not get weeded all the way. It was weeded a couple of weeks ago, but weeds are back. Got to weed that and then plant those seeds, and it'll be done. My squash got done. They got weeded, they got pruned, and they just look so much better. Airflow, they just look so much healthier. Got all that brown stuff and goop trimmed off. They look really good. So row 4 is half done. The squash, the other half, not yet, but that's all right. Row 5, I spread the organic garden soil in this space that used to have pole beans. I'm going to plant 2 rows of cowpeas there. So that'll make that complete. This is the Marglobe tomato row that I showed you earlier. I just pruned everything back. I left any new tomatoes that were growing on there and culled any old ones that look bad. I got the ground weeded. I feel so much better since I did that. I did the same thing on this section as I did on the other pole beans. And I will plant 2 rows of cowpeas here as well. This section is my Mexico midget beans. Went over that this morning extensively, talking about those. And I did get them weeded at the bottom. All the weeds are gone. So, and I've tried to put Miracle Grow on all these tomato plants and just kind of give them a little leg up. This section here is the early girl tomatoes. I did get those weeded. So we can put a check by this spot. Got them pruned, got them all just looking 100% better. This section I did not get to touch. My dragon's egg cucumbers, probably gonna pull them up, never did, and I need to weed on the back side of them. But I got the front side weeded. So, you know, I get done what I can get done. This last section, my BB Russian paste tomatoes. Those little tomatoes right there. And my Ashley cucumbers. I got all that weeded. Pretty much. I probably could go in and weed a little more in the back of these. And then my Claude Brown yellow giant tomatoes. I got those staked up a little better. They're very viney and sprawly. They're different from a lot of my tomato plants, and they just want to kind of go out. So you're constantly having to kind of keep them up. But that's it, y'all. A week of hard work. Well, from Sunday through Friday night. Sunday morning through Friday night. Hard work. I'm not gonna lie. It kind of wore me out at some points. I have sweated more than I sweated a while lately because this week has been a hot one here in South Louisiana. But I feel so much better. I feel so good. I feel a weight off my shoulders. I feel like I just kind of took control and just got back on my horse and got this done. I had let this garden get so out of shape, and I'm just so upset at myself for letting it happen, but things do happen. So I'm just letting it go. I'm going to also take this scraps of all these grass clippings that I have. I'm gonna let them sit here another day or so. They're already starting to turn brown, and I am going to turn around and take all this kind of stuff and kind of put it on some of this grass, like especially at the beginnings of the row where it's real thick. I want to keep that grass down so that it doesn't come back and choke my garden out really fast. I'm about to lose my light. I thank y'all for joining me for this kind of long video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And if I can do it, y'all, you can do it. Don't let the heat beat you. Don't let exhaustion beat you. Don't let thinking that your garden is on its way out beat you. There's a lot of things that have just really come to life in the last couple of days since I've been doing this. They just needed some attention. They just needed some love. And so that's what I tried to give them this week. So this is Lainey at Camp Joy Farms. I thank y'all so much for joining me. Y'all have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.